Hey you guys, it's me LV. This is Lena. And this is LView Season 5. And we are sitting with an amazing lady. Her name is Carrie Ann. She's a transformational life success coach. And how did you get to being a life coach?
Oh my gosh, LV, that's such a loaded question, right? Because so besides a transformational life coach, I'm a clinical social worker, as well as a university professor, and so it kind of encompasses everything that I do. And so I would say I became a transformational life coach. It's something that I would say I evolved into through experience and education as a clinical social worker, working with a lot of different populations. One of the things that I saw was a need to help people get unstuck or help them point their life in a really good direction. And so that's kind of how I became a transformational life coach. It's really to help people transform into their intentional purpose, find out who they really are and live that life on purpose.
And when did you get into the arts? Or how did you get into the arts?
Oh gosh, the arts. I got into the arts when I was 5 years old. I was on stage in theater when I was 5, and I did theater throughout school and college. I also did community theater and started writing when I was about 12 years old. And so, so that's kind of how I got into the arts. My mom was directing a play, and I wasn't supposed to be in it. And I was sitting back, and I knew everybody's line. And I would be that kid that would interrupt and go, "That's not your line. Your line is," and they were like, "Oh my God, just give her a part in the play, for God's sakes." And they did. And so that's how I got into my first play. And I loved it. And then I found out that I loved to write. And so I really started writing poems and short stories like in elementary school. And then by 12 years old, I found out I was actually really, really good.
Can you describe your style of writing?
So I love dramedies, drama with a touch of comedy. And I really like social issues. And so for me, because I am a clinical social worker and I work with so many different populations, I really like to tell stories that are relatable. And I like to bring social issues to life on stage. That is, so if we're dealing with poverty, I will add it to a story, or whether it is domestic violence or child abuse or disabilities, right? I have a web series I'm working on right now where we talk about, disabilities and youth in foster care and things like that, and especially disabilities among children, I think is something that we still don't know too much about. And so I like telling everyday stories that we don't necessarily think about and it's something I'm passionate about.
Where can we find more information about you?
So there's my website, kzamore.com, and so it's just the letter K, ZAMORE.com is my website. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is Dr. Carrie Zamore on Instagram, and also on Facebook, Dr. Carrie Ann Zamore, or K Zamore Enterprises. You can follow me on all social media as well as my website.
Well, thank you for watching, you guys. We'll definitely be back with more. Just keep watching here on LView. Bye.
Bye.
Can't do this anymore, man. My head's about to explode. My whole life sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I'm out here getting my ass kicked, and every time I drive down the road, I want to jerk the wheel into a goddamn bridge embankment.
Hey you guys, me LV. This is Lena. And we are now sitting here with a visual artist. And his name is Jonah. And tell us about your adventure as a visual artist.
Well, I've always made art my whole life, but it was drawing at first for most of my life until like senior year of high school. Then after high school, I couldn't really use my hands anymore because of my progression of my disease. So then I came up with a new idea to make art where I was like, hey, I should take paint and run it over. with my wheelchair. And that started like 4 years ago.
What's your style?
I'd say it's very abstract because I use my wheelchair, so I don't have like as much control as most artists. It's like hard to paint actual things. And then my style has changed. At first, I was just using acrylic paint, but now I mix what's called Floetrol with it.
What's that?
It's like a paint thinner,
Oh.
but that's how it gets all these cool like swirling effects, and the colors like mix kind of.
Did you know about these things, or were you like, oh, I wonder what this does, and just kind of threw it on the ground and see how it
I
goes?
think I saw a couple of YouTube videos, and I feel like it just adds another layer to my art. Whereas before it was just paint that was running over. And it also has these cool things called like cells, which are little like bubbles. What causes that is something called it's like acrylic oil. You just put it on there and it creates spots where the color like doesn't go.
Do you have a theme that you go with, like, or a mood?
Like a routine, like a...
Just depends on the paintings. I feel like I'm always inspired by different things.
Okay. Like what?
I don't know, just like my surroundings, or like one time it was music.
What kind of music?
I mostly listen to rap music.
Oh, wow.
What about Eminem?
I've listened to some of him, not much.
No.
What's your favorite rapper?
Probably J. Cole.
Have you heard of Josh Groban?
Yes,
that's
I've heard of him.
Not a rapper.
He's not a rapper.
Okay.
It's a complete different vibe.
I've heard of him.
Way off from rap.
That's really cool. Where can we find more of your information online?
On Instagram, I have a link to everything on there. Also, I have a website.
What's the website?
My website is jdillachillapaintings.com. And the Instagram's the same, but _art, without the paintings. So jdillachilla_art.
Well, thank you for watching, you guys. We'll definitely be back with more here on LView. Bye.
Bye.
Lena, what are you doing?
Look what I got! It's a new t-shirt!
A new t-shirt? Where's that from?
It's by LVnthelife from Austin T-Shirt Lab.
What's a t-shirt lab?
I know, and guess what?
What?
It's only $20, and every time you buy a t-shirt, it helps our show, LView.
Man, that sounds great.
Feel it! Isn't that nice?
Man, that's soft.
Would you wear it as a pajama shirt?
Maybe.
Sit there with your popcorn, watching Netflix in your LVnthelife t-shirt.
That sounds great.
Am I ready? Am I ready?
No,
Oh.
you're not ready. You don't have a hat.
Oh.
Yeah, a Lena hat.
I'm Lena.
Yep, here. Now you're complete.
Thank you.
LVnthelife, guys.
Okay.
Hey you guys, me LV. This is Zelina. Today, here on LView Season 5, we are with an awesome director. His name is John. How did you get started with Texas comedies?
Well, I'm originally a musician, actually from the East Coast, and I played in a lot of bands, and I was in New York for a while, and I fell into the theater scene because they had great audiences. So I started doing musicals there. Went abroad, went to the Czech Republic for a couple years. I was in Romania for a couple years, and total in New York about 10 years. Then when I came here, I thought I'd try to do something about the space where we are, which is Texas, as you probably know. And we kind of fell into doing Texas history shows, kind of by accident, doing a story about Cabeza de Vaca, who was a European explorer who landed in Texas a long time ago. And so we kind of found our niche and we developed that. And then, kind of on top of that, we got invited to, we did a show about this town called Borger, Texas. And it was a show called Boomtown. And we got invited to Borger, which turns out to be 9 hours away. It's just north of Amarillo. And so since then, we've been doing the Texas stuff. So Cabeza de Vaca, Prohibition, which is about the decision to do, the decision on whether to allow alcohol in Texas. Boomtown, which is about the oil industry. Bonnie and Clyde. We got Murders in Moon Towers coming up, which is set here in Austin. And I drove by and took a photo of one of the Moon Towers, which is just right here on 12th Street, because we have to build one on stage. So trying to figure out how to build a moon tower on stage, that's going to be interesting. 2 blocks from here was a serial killer in the 1880s. It's called the Servant Girl Murderers, and killed a bunch of people. So true story.
Have you heard of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I have heard of that. Now, we haven't done that one yet. So we'll maybe turn that into a musical sometime.
Y'all should.
Yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
He has a whole band on stage though, because not a lot of plays do that, and I feel like that's kind of like the missing part of the show is having the music. I don't know. It's like you kind of need that.
We sometimes get accused of being pre-recorded, the band being pre-recorded, which we'll try to take as a compliment because the band means it's tight and we didn't make any mistakes. So yeah, sometimes we actually show the band. In the show we're coming up to do, we actually are going to have the musicians on stage for one of the songs because there's going to be a piano on stage. We'll have somebody under a lamp with a bass drum and do it like that. And that way they see as the music is part of the whole thing. I mean, it is a musical, so.
Can you describe the style of your musicals?
Well, it's lighthearted. It is a musical comedy, so it's not very serious. However, we deal with serious topics. So, true events in Texas history. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. I would say that it's occasionally dramedy, but sometimes goes outright into farce.
Where can we find your awesome work?
Well, you can find it in the theater, but I would look at the website, texascomedies.com, one word, texascomedies.com. And you can see us also on Facebook and on Instagram, of course. And you can follow on our website, you can follow like where we're doing all the traveling shows. Like we're going to be, right after we finish here in Austin at the Doherty Arts Center, the next week we're going to forget that show and relearn our show, The Feud, which is about a real feud in the 1870s. We're going to do 4 shows in Louisville, which is near Fort Worth, for their Western Days Festival. So we're going to do 4 shows in one day. And then 1 week later, we're going to retool and do our Bonnie and Clyde show in Burleson, Texas, and then Lufkin, Texas.
See y'all later. Just keep watching, keep liking, keep following here on LView. Bye.
Bye.